Good afternoon, students. So today we'll be studying with the topic prism. Actually, we will be discussing with some of the important numerical which may be expected in the coming exams of IIT, JEE Mains or Advanced or NEET. So let us not waste our time and then start with some of the numerical which are very important on the examination point of view. So let us go for the first numerical. The first numerical is something. We have an isosceles prism and the angle is 120 degree and having the refractive index as √2. The two parallel monochromatic rays enter the prism parallel to each other. You can see here these two rays are entering parallel to the prism as shown in the figure. Then you have to find the angle between the emerging ray. Means you have to find the angle between the emerging ray. You can easily see this is one emerging ray, this is another emerging ray, and this angle, what is 2 alpha, is the angle which we have to find that out, or we have to find the angle between the emerging ray. So now let us start how to tackle this type of problem. So now let us start how to solve it. So just let us go for a ray diagram now. So we have first, they have given you an isosceles prism of angle of prism as 120 degree like this something. This angle is given to you as 120 degree. Okay. Now we draw a line, an axis, such that this angle becomes 60 degree and this angle becomes 60 degree for the sake of symmetry. Now according to the question, the mu of this prism is given as √2, whatever the information is given. Now they have given that there are two parallel monochromatic rays entering into the prism. So let us say this is the one ray. Then when the one ray reaches at this point, it is a point of normal incidence, and therefore the light will move undeflected over here. Now the refraction will take place from the second surface. Here if you draw the normal, this is angle of incidence I, and it is moving from denser medium to rarer medium. If nothing is given, it is air, it will bend away from the normal somewhat like this, and it will meet the axis over here. So this will be the angle of refraction R. Now if this prism was not present, what would have happened? If this prism was not present, then this ray would have moved straight, and this angle is another angle of deviation is alpha. It is very clear, if this angle is alpha, this angle is also alpha due to the alternate interior angle. Now we can take the second symmetrical rays as according to the question, the second parallel rays again like this. The same process we will do it here. Again it will go undeflected over here. We will draw a normal over here. Then this will be an angle of incidence, and then it will bend away from the normal something like this. This is the angle of refraction, and if this prism was not present, it would have moved straight. This was the angle of deviation alpha. If this is alpha, then this is also alpha, and therefore we can say now that the angle between the two emergent ray is 2 alpha, which we have to calculate. The angle between the two emergent ray is 2 alpha, which we have to calculate. So this is something we know about the diagram. Now how to use it? Now let us take this point as P and this point as Q. Though they are symmetrically, so we can solve for one side, and whatever the alpha we are getting over here, the same alpha will be corresponding to this angle also, and then we can get 2 times the alpha, the angle between the two emergent ray. Now let us start with the concept. Now this is 60 degree, this is 90 degree. So 60 and 90 will become 150. So this will become out to be 30 degree. If this is 30 degree, this is 90 degree. So this will come out to be again 60 degree. And if this is 60 degree, this is normal, this will come out to be 30 degree. So we got an angle of incidence as 30 degree. We got an angle of incidence as 30 degree. Now you can easily apply the Snell law at point P. This is not given anything, so it is taken as air with mu equal to 1. So you apply the Snell law at point P. Snell's law at point P. Now if you apply the Snell law at point P, it will be simply mu1, that is √2 into sin I, that is sin 30, is equal to mu2, that is air, into sin R. Snell law, then you get √2, sin 30 is 1 by 2, and 1 by 2 can be written as 1 by √2 into 1 by √2 is equal to sin R. √2 and √2 will get cancelled, so we get sin R is equal to 1 by √2, or R is equal to 45 degree. So when r comes out to be 45 degree here, when r come out to be 45 degree over here, then you can be easily, what is the relationship between r, alpha and I? It is very clear, r minus alpha is equal to I. R minus alpha is equal to I. So I can write r minus alpha is equal to I over here. So what I'll get over here, r is 45 degree, alpha we have to calculate, I is the angle of incidence which is 30 degree over here. So 45 minus 30 degree is alpha, and therefore alpha will come out to be 15 degree. So now we got a value of alpha over 15 degree. Since this ray is symmetrically same as this ray, therefore this alpha will come out to be also 15 degree, and therefore the angle between these two emergent ray, which is say as theta, which is equal to 2 alpha, can be taken as 2 into 15 degree, that is theta is equal to 30 degree. Therefore we got an answer, theta is equal to 30 degree. Therefore now we can say that the angle between the two emerging rays, which is equal to 2 alpha, which I have taken as theta, is come out to be 30 degree. This is the final answer. So this type of question they are generally asking in JEE Mains. This type of question they are generally asking in JEE Mains. They will just check whether you know the concepts or not. Okay, let us start with the second problem now. The first problem is very easy, something like this. Now you can go for the second problem, and now you can see over here the second problem is something a very good problem. You can meanwhile read it. Yeah. The second problem is we have a prism of refracting angle. Refracting angle is nothing but the angle of prism. It is given as 30 degree, as shown in the figure, you can see it. Is coated with a thin film transparent material, refractive index 2.2 on the face AC of the prism as shown. Now we are using a light, incident light of wavelength 6600 angstrom in the face AB, and the angle of incidence is given as 60 degree. If the refractive index of the prism is given as √3, you have to find the angle of emergence. That is the first part. First we will look over it, then we will go for the second part. So what is given to you? First of all, they have given you a prism. Say this prism is given as A, B and C. This is a ray of light incident on the prism. This is the normal. This angle is given to you as 60 degree, and this angle is given to you as 30 degree, which is the angle of prism here 30, and the mu of prism is given to you as √3. So now when the ray of light is moving from rarer medium, say air, to a denser medium, it will bend towards the normal, something like this. We don't know, like this, something we don't know the angle actually, whatever the angle it may be, like this. This angle is the angle of refraction r. So first we will try to get the value of r. So now let us say this is a point P. Again I will apply the Snell law at point P. So what I will get here? At point P we are applying the Snell's law. So now again the same thing, mu1, that is 1, that is air, into sin 60 is equal to mu, what is the refractive index of prism is given? √3 is given to you. So √3 into sin r. So you get that sin 60 is √3 by 2 is equal to √3 into sin r, or 1 by 2 is equal to sin r, or r is equal to 30 degree. Once you get the value of r as 30 degree, it means that if this is 30 degree, this is normal, so this come out to be 60 degree. So what will happen now if it go like this? This is 30, this is 60, 90, so this has to be 90. Means now this refracted ray after refraction from the first surface AB is incidence normally on the surface, making an angle 90 degree. It means that now the angle of incidence, what is the angle of incidence? You know that the incident ray makes with the normal. So now this is the only normal because it is automatically 90 degree. This is the normal incidence. Therefore, now we can say that this refracted ray of light is inciding normally on AC, and the angle of incidence is now 0, and therefore when it will leave the surface AC, the angle of refraction, that is the angle of emergent, will also be 0, and it will move undeviated in a straight line. And therefore we can, this is the emergent ray. So now what is the angle between the incident ray and the emergent ray? 0 degree. 0 degree. The first answer you got is the angle of incidence or angle of emergence come out to be 0 degree. That is the first part what we have solved. Now what they have done here in the second part, what they have done, this AC part is coated with a thin, AC part is coated with a thin film like this something. And this ray is incident normal, it has a normal incidence over it. Normal incidence means what? Angle of incidence will be 0, likewise here. And now mu of this is given as, the refractive index is given as 2.2 over here, and the ray of light is having a wavelength of 6600 angstrom. Now what they are asking you, what is the minimum value of thickness? What is the minimum value of the thickness of the coated film on the face AC? You have to find this minimum thickness when the light emerging from this face AC should have the maximum intensity. Now you have learned about the interference through a thin films. You have learned about the interference in a thin film, and in that interference in a thin film they were having two cases. One is the interference due to the reflected waves, two reflected waves, and one is the interference due to the two refracted waves, which is important over here. Now you know that for the light to have the maximum intensity, it should occur a constructive interference. And now what is the condition for the constructive interference to occur for a transmitted waves or refracted wave? It is very simple. You know that formula, that 2 mu t cos r is equal to n lambda for constructive interference. 2 mu t cos r should be equal to L lambda for constructive interference, where mu is the refractive index of the thin film, that is given as 2.2, t is the thickness which we have to find it out, and we have to get the minimum thickness of this coating AC such that the intensity of the light should be maximum. So now what I will do here, we have to find the thickness over here. So now I will put over here like thickness, this t can be written as n lambda by 2 mu cos r. Since it is an example of normal incidence, therefore r is taken as 0. So the thickness will be equal to n lambda by 2 into mu, cos 0 will be 1. Now for t to be minimum, listen very carefully, for t to be minimum, the n value should be minimum. So what is the minimum value of n? It can't be 0, thickness can't be 0, it is practically impossible. So what is the minimum value of n? Where n should be an integer also. The minimum value of n then can be taken as 1 for t to be minimum. For t to be minimum, the value of n should be taken as 1, therefore t is taken as lambda upon 2 mu. Now lambda is given to you, the wavelength of light is given to you 6600 angstrom. You can put over here 6600 angstrom upon 2 into mu is given as 2.2. If you solve this, you will get that thickness, minimum thickness, if you got this minimum thickness, because you put n equal to 1, the minimum thickness will come out to be 1500 angstrom. Therefore, the thickness of this face AC which has been coated is equal to 1500 angstrom, provided that the light should have the maximum intensity. So this is the question why it is important, because it has the two concepts now, you know. First you have to get the normal incidence with the help of Snell's law. Then you should have a very good idea about the interference of light. So like this, when two or more concepts are get together or are made together to get a new question, that questions are very important. So this is numerical number 2 that we have already ended up. Let's go for the numerical number 3. Be confident, try at your level best, whatever you know, try to put the concept over any of the problem and try it. Now let's go for the third question. Yeah, that is a very important question. Again, the third question is something like silvering one face of the prism. So now what is the question? You can read it meanwhile. So this question is very important because one face of the slab is actually silvered. Silvered means mirroring we have done. It is behaving like a plane mirror. So now the question is, let's go to the question now. So the question is, if one face of a prism angle is 30 degree, the prism angle is, that is angle A is given as 30 degree, and the refractive index of the prism is √2, and the face AC is silvered, the incident ray retraces its path, what is the angle of incidence? Now what they are giving you, what data they have given you, first you make the data. What data is given to you, first you write that data with the help of a diagram. They have given you a prism A, B, C, and they have given the angle of prism at 30 degree. Some incident ray is there which is incident on the surface, some incident ray is incident on the surface. We drop a normal over here, and this is the angle of incidence which we have to calculate. Now what is the refractive index of the prism given as? Mu equal to √2. Now after refraction, listen very carefully now, after refraction from this surface P, now when it is reflecting from the silvered end AC, it should retrace its path. So when it should retrace its path, what is the condition when the ray will retrace its path? When it is a normal incidence, means when the ray of light is incidence normally on the surface AC, means the angle of incidence should be equal to 0, and therefore the angle of reflection will also be equal to 0, and the ray will retrace its path like this, something like this. The ray will retrace its path, something like this. So you drop like this. So now it is clear that for normal incidence or for the ray of light to retrace from the silvered end AC, this angle is equal to 90 degree. Now if this angle is 90 degree, this angle is 30 degree, automatically this angle will come out to be 60 degree. Now this is again perpendicular and normal. So if this is 60 degree, then this come out to be how much? This is come out to be 60 degree. Then what you can do right now, you can apply this angle as 30 degree. Now this 30 degree is what? It is the angle which the refracted ray makes with the normal. So this is known as the angle of refraction R dash. Angle of refraction R dash. Okay, so now you got the angle of refraction. Why I put R dash? Because R I have put in for angle of reflection. You should not get confused over here. So R dash is the angle of refraction. Now again you can apply the Snell law at point P over here. This is over here. So Snell's law at point P, 1 into sin I is equal to, what is refractive index here? √2 into sin 30, or sin I is equal to √2 into 1 by 2, that is √2 into √2, which will get cancelled. Sin I is equal to 1 by √2, and therefore I will be equal to 45 degree. The angle of incidence will come out to be 45 degree. So what is the angle of incidence? The angle of incidence will come out to be 45 degree. The third question is also very important. This question is also very important because one face of the prism is silvered, and they want to test you whether you know the concept of refraction, whether you know the concept of reflection, and therefore this question is also important from the JEE mains point of view, or the student who are preparing for NEET exam also. Now let us go for the fourth numerical right now. Yeah, read this question. The fourth numerical. Read this question very carefully. Yeah. So what is given to you in the fourth question? We have a triangular prism, as you have shown over here. The triangular prism is there, and the ray is normally incident to one of the face. Okay. And it is now totally internally reflected or totally reflected if theta is equal to 45 degree, the refractive index of the glass is. So what they have given you, if theta is equal to 45, even if they have not given you also, you should be able to calculate it, because how to calculate, we have to we will see it right now. So the question is very simple, that what is the refractive index of the glass for TIR, total internal reflection, to occur. For example, let us go for this one right now. We have a right angle prism, something like this. The ray is coming like this as it is given. It is incident normally. So at this point it is a normal incidence. It will go straight without deflecting over here. This is angle is say 45 degree. Now if you make a normal over here, this is the angle of incidence for this surface, say Q. This is the angle of incidence. Now this is 45, this is 90. So this will be again how much? 45. So this will be automatically 45. Now they are telling the ray from here, say this is A, B, C. The ray should not move out of the face BC, and it should have TIR. It should have total internal reflection over here. It should have TIR over here. Now for TIR to happen, what is the condition? Say this is the angle of incidence theta I for this surface. Okay. So now for TIR to happen for the surface BC, this angle of incidence theta I, which is 45 degree right now, should be greater than the critical angle at Q. So if theta is greater than C, because in order to have TIR at the face BC, this angle of incidence should be greater than critical angle. Therefore theta I should be greater than C, or I can write as sin theta I is greater than sin C, or I can write as sin of theta is actually 45 degree, sin 45 is greater than sin C, or we can say that 1 by root 2 is greater than sin C, and you know that sin C is equal to mu rarer by mu denser, or sin C is equal to mu rarer is air and mu denser is mu of prism, which we have to find it out. So I'll put it over here, 1 upon mu p, and from this the refractive index of the prism should be greater than root 2, or the refractive index of the prism should be greater than 1.41. Therefore the answer will come out to be which option? The refractive index of the glass should be greater than 1.41. That is the C option. You can clearly see what is the C option over here. The C option is the refractive. What is the C option over here? The refractive index of the glass prism should be greater than 1.41. So this C answer will be the answer. So this is the fourth question what we have done right now. Now let us go for the fifth question, and it is a very logical question. Why it is logical, we will try to understand because what happens whenever there is a theoretical question, it is not completely theoretical in all sense. You have to solve it mathematically, and you have to conclude what exactly is the correct answer for it. So now you can read with the numerical number 5 right now, and then we can proceed. Yeah, in the numerical 5 we have given a given ray of light suffers minimum deviation. You all know the condition of minimum deviation. What is the condition of minimum deviation? I should be equal to E, and R1 is equal to R2 is equal to R. Okay, a given ray of light suffers minimum deviation in an equilateral prism P. We have one equilateral prism P. And a ray of light suffers the minimum deviation. Additional prism Q and R of identical shape and material. Remember, very important point, identical shape and material means they are similar, are now added to P as shown in the figure. Now the ray will suffer, they have 4 options: greater deviation, same deviation, no deviation, or it will occur total internal reflection. The question means to say that if you have a single prism P, then you are getting some deviation, yes or no. Now what you are doing, you are putting 2 additional similar prism, equilateral prism of same shape and same material Q and R as shown in the diagram. So now what is the net deviation produced? Will it be greater than the previous one, or will it have the same deviation, or it will have no deviation, or it will have TIR? So now let us start with this concept. It's a very good question right now. So now let us consider we have one equilateral prism P, 60, 60, you know it. Now what is the first question is, what is the deviation produced by this prism? For example, if you take something deviation produced by this prism P is equal to say A into mu minus 1, something deviation produced by this prism. For example, now we have put two prisms like this, and they are termed as Q and R. They are made up of same material and they are identical. So the deviation of R will also be somewhat like A into mu minus 1, because this, and deviation of Q will be also A into mu minus 1, deviation of R will be also A into mu minus 1. Example I am taking. Whatever it be the deviation will remain same. So what is the net deviation? The net deviation will come out to be del P minus del Q, because this is the base are opposite. The Q prism is kept in the opposite direction to that of P and R. The deviation of Q will be in opposite direction to deviation of P and that of R. So net deviation will be del P minus del Q plus del R. So if you see that all the values are same, so this and this will get cancelled. So the net deviation will be equal to del R, and del R will be equal to A into mu minus 1, and A into mu minus 1 is nothing but the deviation of the prism P. Means the net deviation will be same as the deviation produced by the prism P. It means the ray will suffer same deviation. Is it clear to this point? So now the another question is numerical 6, which is a previous IIT JEE 2010 question. So I'll make a diagram here. We have, and OP is a monochromatic light. It's incident on the prism ABCD. I'll make it somewhat fast now. A, B, C, D. Angles are given as 90 degree, 60 degree, 135 degree, and 75 degree. The ray is incident like this. It is having angle 60 degree right now over here. Refractive index of this prism ABCD is given as √3, and they have some 4 options are there which are correct. We have to see over here. So now what I'll do here, first I will apply the Snell law over here like this something. This is the angle of refraction R. I apply the Snell law over here. 1 into sine 60 is equal to refractive index of this prism is √3 into sine R, or I get √3 by 2 equal to √3 into sine R, or 1 by 2 is equal to sine R, and R is equal to 30 degree. If this R come out to be 30 degree, means this will come out to be 60 degree. Means now the refracted ray is having a 60 degree with the vertical, means this ray, refracted ray, will be parallel to BC, because this is also 60 degree. So now what will happen here? It will come parallel to like this over here. Now this is 60 degree, this will be 120 degree. Now this is 120, 135, 60. So you calculate it, means 120 plus 135 plus 160, whatever the total will come, 360 minus this one. So you will get this angle as 45 degree right now. Now let us see what will happen at this point. Now we apply the Snell law over here. If I make some like this, okay. So now what will happen over here? Can you tell me what is this angle? This angle is 45, so this angle will all be also 45 degree. So now what will happen now? If you apply the Snell's law over here, what you will get over here? If you apply the Snell law at point say Q, what you will get? If you apply the Snell law over point Q, so you will get at like √3 into sine 45. √3 into sine 45 is equal to 1 into say some sine R dash. We don't know. Sine R dash. Something like this. R dash. So you will get √3 by √2 equal to sine R dash. So sine R dash, the value of sine R dash is coming out to be greater than 1, which is not possible. But it will have now TIR. It will having now TIR. So it will have TIR. So now this is the angle of incidence. So this will be the angle of refraction again 45 degree. It will have the angle of incidence as 45 degree. Now again if you apply the Snell law over here, you will find that the angle of refraction over here will come out to be 60 degree. If you apply the Snell law over here, you will get the angle of refraction coming out to be 60 degree. And therefore now you see over here, now you can see over here, this is the incident ray, this is the refracted ray. This is the incident ray, say this is the refracted ray. This angle is given as now 30 degree with vertical, this will be 30 degree. This is say 60 degree. If I just make this is the angle of deviation. This is 30, this will be 30. This is 60, this will be 60. this will be 90, and therefore this will be also 90. Therefore, the deviation produced by the incident ray and the refracted ray will be 90 degree. So, what are the option get corrected? The A option is correct. The ray get totally internal reflected at CD. The ray comes through the face AD only. It is not coming from CD, and the angle between the incident ray and the emergent ray makes an angle of 90 degree. That is the angle of deviation. So, is it clear up to this point? IIT JEE 2010 question we have already done. Thank you.